Love and light people. Be another challenging one today. Got some interesting things coming to the forefront. So let's back on up. Back up into that heart space. Let's talk about it. First of all, birthdays, incarnation day, every solar year, I've come to understand is a different timeline. So every solar year that passes, you're actually moving up a timeline. What we've been made to think that's all about getting older. Again, because we're focused from the perspective of the ego, thinking that we're a body and a brain. And so all that does is get older each year. And we've totally lost sight of the fact that every solar year that goes by, we're moving up on the timeline, and by the time you get older, 40, 30, 40, 50, the hope is that you put things together and come to understand who and what you actually are, and move out of this ego consciousness, if you will, which is kind of an oxymoron, but you get out of the trap that you're in, which is the ego. That is the trap for the human, to think that that's what it is and live as though that's what it is, and miss out on so much. And we will go further here. So let's have a look at ourselves from the perspective of Source. And really you do this through meditation and getting deep within the heart space. You don't really do it intellectually, but we're very intellectual creatures much of the time. And so maybe if we can begin to get this intellectually, then during the meditation and the heart space and going to the depths within, you can actually move into this realization. It's really just self-realization. And I'm just going to put it in as a what if. All this is just what if, because that's all everything is, really. Because if you're in quantum possibility, then everything is what if. Anything and everything is what ifs. Until what? Until you create it. Until you create it. So let's say you as Source want to experience physicality. You want to experience relationship. You want to experience love. And you just can't do this alone. These are things that you just can't do by yourself, as it were. So you agree. Well, first you make the space, you create the space. So first you created a space in which you could bring things into manifestation, like anything physical. So let's just simplify it by saying worlds, or the world. Okay? Then you decided, hey, I'm not just going to do this from a distance. I actually have to get in it. I actually have to get embodied, to feel, to experience. And then came up with this amazing idea of, why don't I fracture myself into all these points of consciousness to where I can then experience relationship and love and beauty and harmony and whatever else you want to say. Now, for our particular world, we're in a dualistic world, which there's only one of, from my understanding. There's only one, because most of the worlds, most of the planets, most of the heavenly bodies are not in duality. They exist in under the law of one, not under the law of one, but they adhere to the law of one. But we got this idea of duality, and we said, just like we've experienced wholeness in these upper worlds, in these heavenly bodies, let's kick it down a notch. And what would happen if all of these points of consciousness had free will, and free will basically meaning to choose good or evil, to simplify it, light or dark, up or down. And everybody in that world has free will to choose this. So some people in that world are choosing love. Some people in that world are choosing hate. And some people in that world are choosing both. Sometimes they're doing love, sometimes they're doing hate. And they're moving back and forth between the two. So, to experience that world where that kind of reality is happening would give us great understanding about duality. And that is why you're here. That is why you came here. That is why you came to this world. Possibly. I'm not saying for sure, because I think different ones of us are here for different reasons. Some of us are still just now ascending for the first time. Some of us have ascended and came back for this particular time of the entire body awakening, the entire planet awakening, not just individual points of consciousness. So a lot of you wanderers and the family of light came here for this specific time frame to usher and bring about this heavenly body called Earth fully awakening all of its points of consciousness. All right, now let's get back to you as source. You are source doing this. the world and the reality that you experience and perceive is your doing. And I'm going to try to explain this because this gets tricky and will confuse the mind pretty quickly, but I think we can figure it out, or I think we can understand it, or we can at least try. Because I think it's easy to say, you are source, and you say, yes, I agree with that. But then we really don't understand what all that means, what we're really agreeing with or saying fully. We're moving into this awakening. We're moving into this understanding. And so your consciousness can slide all the way from the physical body that's incarnated here in this realm, and your consciousness can slide all the way on a scale into where it's all the way over to source, where you're looking at all of this from the perspective of source. And so if you can get your consciousness there, slid that far over, or closer, as close as you can get to source, then you begin to see, okay, this world is my creation. So now you have to start taking responsibility for everything, which the ego does not want to do. So if you're still in the egoic state, this is going to be madness to you. But from the perspective of source, you have to start putting everything into the context of I. I created my reality, my world. And in my world, because everybody for a while, right, lives as the ego. Again, we got fooled into thinking that that's who and what we were. And so we bought that. And so the whole time you bought that, the quantum field lined up your world to be exactly what you believed it to be. And so duality played out for you. Is still playing out for you. Until you grasp this, that you are source and you created your world, and everybody in your world is a fractal of you. You're like a freaking moving, living, metamorphosizing torsion field of a Mendelbrot set. And everybody in your world you created. Now see, we think, well, wait a minute, I don't remember doing this and all that. No. The quantum field brought it into reality just based on your sending signals. This didn't happen intellectually or consciously, perhaps. So there is no memory of you creating me. You don't remember creating me. I just came about based on the world that you believed that you were in. All right, so going back to the taking responsibility. I, as source, created all of this based on my thoughts and my beliefs, and the quantum field working with that to manifest everything the way that I believed that it was going or should go. And so what happened in the world? With duality, seemingly there's the good guys and seemingly there's the bad guys, and seemingly the bad guys are oppressing the good guys. But the good guys are on the comeback and the good guys ultimately will win. Well, how are you going to co-create that into reality? How does that come about? That comes about through your own creativity. And so see, you and your creativity and me and my creativity, we have come up with, see, in our naivety, we came up, let's say we came up with many things, but one of the things we came up with was aliens. One of the things we were fed was saviors, right? These are symbolic effigies of things that were going to save you from the bad guys, from the world of duality. But then we came to understand, okay, the external saviors, it doesn't work that way. So then we came up with aliens. And we were on an alien kick for a long time. Humanity, I'm talking about. All of us, because we're all one. This is all you. And then we came to understand, well, that's not quite how it works either, because aliens are not just some other form of the ego like the mind body is. See, when we create those kind of aliens, we're just creating them in our image. And then we matured and realized that's not how it works either. And so in our creativity, we have now gone interdimensional with it. We have now gotten into things like the secret space program, aliens not being so much physical beings like we are, or like we partially are, because that's only one aspect of us, that's only one layer. We're actually interdimensional just like they are. So sometimes you could be in physicality and sometimes not, but we only know physicality. We haven't advanced far enough to get there yet. Because we have to awaken first. That's the very first thing that has to happen, is you have to awaken. Awaken to what? Awaken to all the conspiracies? Awaken to who the bad guys actually are? Awaken to how we defeat them as the good guys? You can do all of that just by awakening to the fact that you're source. And then you take responsibility for every single thing in your world, in your reality, because it's all coming from you. And I was going to say it's all coming from your mind, and it is. It's coming from your mind, but it's not just coming from your mind. You are a triangulated being. So there's all these different, basically, vibrations and frequencies and matter and atoms and all this merging in one triangulated point of consciousness, which is you, and you have now a extraterrestrial machine, if you will, to traverse this foreign world, or this new world, which is your body. See, before your body, you were a light being, you were a spirit, you were conscious, you existed with the law of one. Your curiosity brought you into this world of duality and into the world of incarnating into the flesh. Where you quickly forgot all about the fact that you're source still. So you as source now, through your creativity, have created the way out of what seemed to be the end of mankind, the human experiment, through your creativity. And once again, we've got the secret space program, we've got extraterrestrials that are interdimensional, dealing with people one-on-one, because every time they dealt with us as society, as the collective, we were still egos. And a lot of people still are. And what do? They're not very smart. They will go to worshiping these people, these, whatever you want to call them, people, entities, aliens, demons, angels, because it's all manifesting the way that you expect it to. But as an ego, you just don't know very much. And when you come across, an extraterrestrial or interdimensional being that seems to have a lot more intelligence than you do, then you instantly start putting that thing on the pedestal and saying, well, this must be God. This must be what created me. I need to worship and follow this. We need to make this a religion. We need to make this a law. Everybody needs to be made to do this. And do you see what happens? We've done it over and over and over. The same thing. But this time it's different. This time you're going to realize you are source. And all of these things in your reality and in your world are projected from you via the quantum field. So everybody in your world is playing a part, is playing a role in this human experiment of duality. And so all we got to do is exactly what we've been doing, but we're going to be doing it a lot more skillfully. And that is being creative. You co-created your way to wherever you're at. You, we, same thing. You, we have done this. And we're going to creatively co-create our way into a world of harmony, into a world of balance, peace, love, unity, and light. Everything that all the light workers talk about. All the things that come through the channelers. All the aliens that speak individually through people. That's what they've told us over and over, and that's what they're continuing to tell us, and they're waiting for us to get it. They're waiting for us to get it. They're waiting for the metamorphosis where they go from being egoic intellectual humans to interdimensional spirits that realize that they are source, that remember that they are source, and then they begin to do things as source with their creativity. Because how do you think everything got here? How do you think anything manifested into anything if creativity was not involved? So I propose to you, every single person is really meant to be an artist. You're meant to be a master artist. You're meant to master the art of co-creating. You're not meant to sit in your ego, judging everything you come across, trying in vain to discover what messed you up or what messed the world up. The world is just a redundancy of you. What messed society up? Society is just a redundancy of you. Everything's being projected from you. Every person out there is coming from you. When you can get your consciousness back into the position of seeing it from source, seeing it from the position of source. Every solar year that goes by, you move up on the timeline. You move to the adjacent timeline. And see, if you knew that going all the way back to where you began, if you knew that that's what was happening each year that went by, you would become the opposite of what you think you're becoming. You think you're becoming older. You think you're getting closer to death. You think you're moving towards your ending. All these misconceived things that we've been, again, programmed to believe. And as an ego, you're just miles away from the realization that you're source. Miles from the mentality that you are going to take responsibility for every single thing in your world. Every single thing in that world. Because again, you came into this dualistic realm to experience it. You wanted to know firsthand what it's like, what it's about, and how, and learn how to co-create a happy ending, for lack of a better way to say it. Where the world is not dominated and controlled by what? The ego. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else that can dominate and control the world except ego, and it comes through you. It comes through us. So the answer to the entire world's problem, all of its problems, you have the answer. You are the answer. You, my friend, are the answer. That's it. So that's it. When you wake up, my friend, everybody in your world wakes up, because if everybody in your world is a projection coming from you, because you needed people to play the roles, right? You couldn't just sit in a room by yourself and experience all this. You needed, quote unquote, others. So when you wake up, everybody wakes up, meaning now the quantum field is going to use all those quote unquote others to bring the solution into consciousness. And what could that be? What could that be? That could be any of the things you've already heard about. It could be the cabal getting rounded up. It could be sealed indictments. It could be all these amazing things that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you would have thought, holy shit, if could it possibly ever work out like that? The impossible becomes possible to them that are source. And you don't even have to you don't even have to intellectually figure it all out and come up with the answers and then they come about. No, it's just, again, from your knowing, from your place of knowing. So just move to the heart, know that you're source, know that all this is a projection coming from you, and that all the problems that need to be solved are solved because you now know that you're source, and you know that the quantum field is going to use your creativity just like it already has, and all the others are going to do all the things that bring about the answers to all the problems. Stay in your knowing. Stay in your knowing. That's how you win. That's how we win. And we're winning. We're winning. What are we winning against? We're winning against the ego. Love and light reflections, love and light. Nothing can stop you now. Nothing can stop you now.